In a city full of serial killers, there isn't a person more morally grey than Maria LaGuerta. Despite not being evil per se, there is no line she wouldn't cross in order to play the game of power and politics, a game she plays all too well. From a character who died in the first book to last in 7 seasons, myself and the fandom find LaGuerta beyond insufferable. And although she isn't a killer, she has a long list of victims. Today, I'll be discussing why everyone hates Maria LaGuerta and whether or not she deserves it. When we are introduced to this ray of sunshine, she's the captain of Miami Metro. While her detectives do all the dirty work, we see her handle the press fairly easily. Maria is very ambitious and politically driven, with a respectable reputation on the surface, especially among the Cuban community. It's important to note while she does have the city's best interest at heart, she refuses to be seen in any form of negative light. And while she has a good relationship with her sergeants Angel Batista and James Stokes, she doesn't let anyone get too close. Her work always comes before her life, and the emotions she hides are only ever let out when interacting with Deborah Morgan. For no reason at all, she has a clear spite towards her and humiliates Deb publicly on numerous occasions. However, this hardened exterior Maria possesses is damaged over time as a result of the less honourable acts she's forced to commit for power. From sleeping with her replacement's fiancé to marrying and then divorcing a co-worker, LaGuerta is continuously falling into unprofessional affairs. As far as her strengths go, she is a master manipulator who easily creates situations for her benefit and is extremely determined to maintain her position at any cost. She is often willing to betray or use anyone to get what she wants, no matter the individual. Despite her ways, she holds a strong loyalty to Dokes and is the only person to believe he was framed for being the Bay Harbor butcher. Dead set on proving his innocence and getting justice, she actually manages to unravel Dexter's secret, but ultimately pays the price, losing her life to the woman she wronged for years in a decision that changed everything. When looking back on season 1, the only annoying character, and I mean only, is LaGuerta. From the first episode, we know this woman is a D1 hater, and we later suffer 6 more seasons of a vendetta towards one person, Deborah Morgan. The funny thing about this is that we're never even given a definitive reason to where this hate comes from. We can only infer that Deb's foul mouth and expressiveness is what triggers Maria. However, the amount of punishment she gives to Deb for being herself is more than undeserving. Maria first makes it near impossible for Deb to get into homicide and is practically forced by Matthews to let her in after a major break in the ice truck killer case. She is notably petty and treats Deb worse than any other officer. Then in season 5, LaGuerta took over Deb's stakeout at Club Mayan and made an order that led to an informant and clubgoer being iced. After Deb refused to go with Maria's fake story, she decides to publicly blame the incident on Deb and takes zero accountability. This situation almost cost Deb her job if it wasn't for Angel Batista going against his wife and exposing the truth. Not long after, LaGuerta refuses to reopen the Barrel Girl case when Deb figures out Boyd Fowler wasn't the only predator. Why, you ask? Because she thought Deb wanted to make her look bad. Imagine being so self-centered, you stop looking for a cult of Minnesotan women, all because it may affect your public image. Finally, in season 6, once Deb becomes lieutenant, Maria attempts to sabotage Deb on multiple occasions. This whole fiasco isn't about tough love or preparing Deb for the real world. We are seeing the most monstrous form of jealousy. Jealous of a younger, talented female detective that was damn good at her job. LaGuerta felt threatened by this, especially because other than the political game she always won, Maria was an incompetent lieutenant. LaGuerta openly says that her and the other women work in a man's field, which tricks us into believing she'll look out for the girls. You have to understand that in her mind, her female colleagues are no more than competition in a game she refuses to lose in. Apart from Deb, she also makes another example out of her temporary replacement, Pascal. After a month, Lieutenant Pascal starts to crack when she suspects her fiancé is cheating on her. Her obsession bleeds into her work life, when she uses the department's resources to track her man's phone calls and having forensics test his shirt for a smell. Eventually, Maria gets her job back when Pascal has a meltdown and Matthews has no choice but to fire her. It's revealed that LaGuerta was having an affair with Pascal's fiancée, a relationship she ends as soon as she regains her job. Out of every chess move Maria makes, we see she does feel genuine guilt for her actions, but it doesn't erase the damage she's caused. She even goes out of her way to defend Pascal to Matthews, even though she was responsible for her demise. Maria only wanted her job back, but ended up ending someone else's career in the process, ultimately doing the opposite of a respectable woman, sleeping her way back into power. Maria's greatest sin is her selfishness, and for this very reason, she is arguably the most unlikable main character. Not really going for an arc, we see her just the way she was introduced to us, with her job position being the only difference over time. We follow her through a long list of shady acts that only drop her on her lower and lower. Like the time she blackmailed Matthews over his little black book in order to obtain her promotion to captain. Despite Matthews being an arse, he is forced to retire after Maria reveals his involvement in the dead cool girl case. But what makes this even more sinister is the fact that she almost forced Deb to close this case in order to protect Matthews. Despite being all about justice, Maria picks and chooses when to go by the book and is a corrupt captain. Her final deed was releasing Hector Estrada from jail as bait in order for Dexter to ice him. This would in theory be a perfect arrest, but her plan backfires dramatically. And if we take a closer look into her career, we should all question if LaGuerta was really innocent. Maria was unnecessarily wretched to everyone. In a show filled with violent criminals, you can notice quite early on that the writers wanted her to be the non-violent psychopath of the show. Deb, Angel, Dokes, Pascal, Bertrand, and Matthews are all victims of LaGuerta, and she may not kill people, but she destroys careers, marriages, self-esteem, and confidence without remorse. She is able to manipulate her peers without breaking a sweat and will always achieve her goal no matter the cost. With the public by her side, she is almost unstoppable, and no matter how low she goes, she will never change. Because in a world where status and politics reign, power is the only thing that matters. So if you're wondering if Maria LaGuerta deserves the hate, my answer is fuck yes. If you enjoy hearing why despised characters are hated by all, follow the first rule of the code and subscribe. It may seem small to you, but it means the world to me. Have an amazing day.